Okay, this is Thea Renee. I have a lot to say, and I am just going to cut to the chase. So today I am going to speak about duality, and the reason why I think it's super important is because we're surrounded by dualities. We're surrounded by hot or cold, good or bad, yes or no. But what does it mean exactly? That we even have these options. And one of the things that I think that we should first understand is that it's not about any of them being better than the other. So one is not worse than the other, one is not better than the other. And somebody may say, well, how is that the case? Because if something is good and bad, you would think that bad is just whatever. But with dualities, it's understanding that each is a part of each other, right? So in the in merging kind of both together, you create something incredible, because it has the ability to encompass it all, if that makes sense. So let's see if I can give an example, because I see it in my head, but I want to be able to properly paint the picture for what I am explaining. Okay, so a lot of times when someone says they're spiritual, or say someone says that they're just simply professes to be a great person, there's certain things that people are going to expect from this person. There's certain things that people aren't going to expect from this person. You're not going to expect somebody that says that they're spiritual to walk up to somebody that isn't doing anything or whatever and simply just like punch him in the face. Like, you're going to say, whoa, this doesn't really seem to align with what I'm thinking that you should be as this type of being or thing or what have you. But okay, maybe I should use myself as the example, as an easier way to explain it. A lot of people don't, they see me as a innocent person, like I'm like, oh, like she can possibly do this, she couldn't possibly say this, she couldn't possibly hurt me in any way. And it's never saying that the intention was there to want to hurt you, but it never says that I can't. Okay? And I think that when people when you're someone that people kind of see in that way and they don't expect it, you to return, whatever type of bad energy that is being thrown to you, then you are someone that gets taken advantage of. So that person, it's never expected if you kind of serve them their own dish, like serve them the same thing that they were doing. And of course, it's never saying revenge, but it's the ability that it's the fact that you have the ability to. So understanding that the same person that can be nice, the same person that can be that kind, that pure, that innocent person, is also someone that can destroy, can, do all these things. And it's about finding a balance with them, because on its own, too far left, too far right on its own. Each one of them weren't all right. Needed some more, but with duality, you're understanding that each one of these things that I thought that I had to go this way or I thought I had to go this way, that it's about finding a balance. It isn't about going either in those directions. It's about mastering both. And there's so many times that we're like pulled in a direction or wanting for us to believe that this isn't the case. That no, it has to be yes or no. It has to be good or bad. It has to be this or that. And the answer is no, it doesn't. Because there might be in the grand scheme of everything that needs to be shown or everything that needs to be seen, I may need a little bit of this. I may need a little bit of that because it's here for a reason. Why would I not be able to use this? And I think that we just have missed so much of the point of what life has been trying to show us, what things have been trying to teach us. As someone, let's just say, if you're someone that fights demons, and you're able to see entities on people, and you are constantly having to go toe to toe, you as that person who is doing that has to be strong enough to do it. It's a battle. So whereas we were once seeing that good, that innocent one, that, all that in this kind of a way, we're understanding that in order for them to accomplish what they need to accomplish, in order for them to be strong enough to do whatever they need to do to properly wrap their hands around the neck of, that demon, so to say, that entity, and be able to properly exercise it, you got to get your hands a little dirty. So it's a balance, it's never a saying, hey, go over here and hit somebody over the head because Ja said so, because that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that sometimes people who are wants to see themselves as good, it's needed to put yourself in a situation where you come off a bit messy, come off a little bit disturbing, and you are unwilling to do it because you don't believe that that's part of the recipe, that's part of the plan. And what I'm saying is that it is. You have to know how to balance. You got to know how to, you can't, it's our whole lives of growing up saying, again, it's this or that. And those type of ideas trickle down into a lot of what we are doing just in general in our lives, how we live, how we talk, all of that. And just because somebody told us doesn't make it true. We have to say what makes sense. So to me, the way that it made sense to me was to understand that if you're fighting a spiritual war, that you're fighting things that you can't see. So with that said, you can be as good as you want, but you also have to be a warrior. So there's a need for that duality, and that you can take that type of example and place it where it applies. Because it's important for us to cherish both sides of the duality, both sides of the coin, the yin and the yang. It's not about just saying yin over here, yang, ooh, I love you, and we have to start to begin to think this way. Um, we're the ones that can make a difference, that can do something new, that can turn a page. It's based on our understanding. It's based on how we're able to dissect the information for an understanding. And I'm just looking around just to see if there's anything that is relevant based on the cards that I pulled. But I think so. I'm gonna show you because I find that it's funny, and what I believe that it's saying. So this card says "silly hoe," and this card says "el suave." But I think that what it's trying to say is sometimes that you're not always el suave. You're not always that silly hoe. But sometimes there's a way that you can merge the two. You know, even though somebody says I should never be that silly hoe, you know, and may say that, oh, El Suave, he's just arrogant. I don't ever want to be that, you know. But it's finding the balance, and it's also not judging somebody at a specific point. So like, as a human, we tend to engage in the same things. Like, we have sex, we talk stuff, we sit around here and we do these things, but yet people don't want to acknowledge that they do it, even though it's seen, and it's scared to kind of, what's the right word, cultivate the shadow sides of ourselves. Because if we believe that shadow is darkness, because even if you read the Bible in John, it tells you that it was called darkness, but what it was shadow. So and again, it goes to just, this is what we do to ourselves. Nobody told us that it was called darkness, but we assumed it because of what we were seeing. Because you assume that if you have light, that the opposite of it is darkness. But what the Bible and what John was saying in that moment was that this is shadow because it's intermixed with light. What's darkness then? And so that truly helps you to understand and the things that we see, so that we can chew the meat and spit out the bones, so to speak. So that we can use certain things about certain things and leave certain things about certain things. It's balance. We got to stop sitting around here making it seem like this is better than this, or, like it's craziness to me. I always, and this is just a side note as we're gonna soon end here, but it's the same. A duality is heaven and hell, right? So it's the same type of premise. But what I've always believed hell to be is more so of a state of mind, more so of a feeling of a entrapment of sorts. But the constant experience of being happy and sad, right? So another duality, being happy and sad, being I don't know, stuff like that. But you get the drift. But that's torture. If I'm happy now, but then I'm sad, and I'm happy now, but then I'm sad, like, that's torture, and that's hell to me. And so what I'm saying all this to say is that it's us understanding we have to find balance because within the dualities there's torture, because we're constantly going back and forth between something that we believe we understand, and it was never to go each one way. It was always about to sit in the middle. And you have to have a proper understanding. You got to be comfortable enough to do it. So I hope that you liked my message today. I hope that you found something interesting about it. And if you do like it, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Please go ahead and comment if you have something to say in regards to it. Also, please go ahead and share it with someone else. Because, of course, if this is something that you found valuable, someone else can find it valuable as well. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. And you have a great day.